On the clearest of nights, when the winds of New York were brisk and just above freezing, the floppy delivery spider, with his cargo of pepperoni pizza, felt safe and secure. There are nights when the Italian music and open streets of this virtual world were so inviting in their promise of flight and freedom, made one's spirit soar. Hey, look, I understand. All 9 of you are fed up with my blistering upload pace of 2 per year. Well, fear not, cause it's a new year and a new me, baby. It wasn't but 2 decades ago when I sat in my small plastic gaming chair, playing Rogue Squadron on my Nintendo GameCube, blowing the hell out of Jabba's palace and thinking to myself, this is great, but what I really want to do is take my X-Wing to the skies, fly to far-off planets, join factions, save worlds, and explore the vast galaxy before me. Little did I know that my dream would be made reality come 2023 in the form of Starfield, from the master developers over at Bethesda who brought you the likes of Skyrim and Fallout 76. Surely they'd be up for this monumental task, right? They weren't. Not only is this game not even properly open, what with its never-ending fucking loading screens, but the Einsteinian level intellects over at Bethesda decided on the procedural generation method of world building. What's that? You want to visit Globshit 4? Why would you want to do that when the whole thing is more barren than a nuclear wasteland and inhabited exclusively by the same nameless space pirate faction that you've been fighting for 30 hours now? Because, oh, it gets good eventually. Here's a little game dev tip for you. If I have to lug myself through 40 fucking hours of tedious, meaningless bullshit to get to the quote, good part of your game in a supposedly open world, you done fucked up. You done messed up!
Bethesda.
It's such a shame, because there was a time in ye olden days when looking at the back of the game box and seeing open world was enough to get my goop reptilian brain to buy it. It seems game studios hired Charles Xavier's sister at some point in the last 10 years and mind-fucked me for this consumer information, and thus we now live in the darkest timeline where an open world is shoehorned into a fucking Sonic game. And don't get me wrong, because open worlds are far from a bad feature. It's just, why is there now one in my Halo game too? What the fuck? A series that's always been known for its thought-out level design and gripping storytelling. Why did this game need an open world? Because it'll get us goop-brained gamers to buy it? Open worlds can be pretty great, and we have to ask ourselves why they became as popular as they did in order to figure out how we can either fix these modern open worlds, or just do away with them entirely. All video games are virtual worlds that we can interact with. The only difference is that in Red Dead Redemption 2's world, it allows me to ride horses, hijack trains, groom my beard, get a bubble bath from the local tavern wench, and disrupt the lives of a very normal and definitely not related redneck couple. Whereas Pong, the only thing that game allows you to do within its virtual world is play ping pong. I think developer experiential intent, if that's even a word, kind of comes into play here. Like, you can make the best ping pong type game of all time, and a good chunk of the players will still look out to the horizon and wonder, but what if I didn't want to play ping pong? It just can't be helped, really. The real world and the universe at large is so frighteningly big and unending, but you're gonna tell me that in Yakuza 0 I only have access to a couple of city blocks? It doesn't matter that within those blocks I can buy a bowling alley, sing my heart out, play bodyguard for Michael Jackson against an onslaught of zombies, go to the Fat Girl Wrestling Club, really? No. None of it matters in the face of human whininess, curiosity, and longing to escape even deeper into a virtual world against the encroaching existential terror of real life. That is another thing though. Your world has to be interesting and fleshed out. Otherwise, people are going to lose interest, see that your world is shallow, and move on. It's why games such as Hollow Knight and Elden Ring can elicit such loyal fans who scrape through novels worth of hinted lore and dialogue trees just to discover more about your world. Careers have been built off the back of this big, open world, drip-feeding style of storytelling. And that means if your players do delve into your world, excited and ready to discover ancient secrets and epic histories, only to be disappointed with random DLC armor from the last game, Nintendo, or NPCs who don't recognize me anymore from the last game, Nintendo, you fucking lazy pricks, then people are just gonna stop taking you at your word and not buy your next, quote, epic open world fantasy adventure, when we just know that that's a lie. I shouldn't be so frustrated with these games, cause it's very clear that storytelling and world building is just not what Nintendo is going for. And that's okay, because open worlds don't just need to be about narrative escapism. We are playing video games after all. Sometimes it's all about mechanical escapism. Open worlds have to, or at least they should, justify themselves in a way. Essence before existence. As in, come up with the mechanics and or world before creating the game, and then build the game around it. Red Dead, Skyrim, Fallout, these games are built around detailed worlds full of history, factions, and interesting story themes. The new Zelda games are similar, not for the fact that they were created to highlight brilliant fantasy worlds and choices in the narrative, but rather a fully interactable game world that your choices can shape and solve problems in any way you can imagine. I realize this all sounds very obvious, but my point is the game world shouldn't just be a guy in a brainstorming session going, oh, what if we make it open world? Oh yes, very effective. That's why both sides need to be balanced. When your game is very open in one instance and then restrictive in the next, you're going to piss off quite a few people. It's like with Starfield. If you market your game as having 5,000 planets or whatever, but then you also market it as a classic Bethesda RPG.
But it's still a Bethesda RPG through and through. And it's not just this barren planet. It's all barren planets in the system. And not just this barren system, but over 100 barren systems. Over 1,000 barren planets, all open for you to explore. We can't wait to see what you find.
There is nothing.
Look, procedural generation works for Minecraft, not for Skyrim in space. You can't have it both ways, Todd. But the point stands. Open worlds can be very alluring, and executives know this. But you have to back that open world up with an actual world's worth of stuff to do, discover, whether that be story or gameplay. Some games never try to be more than what they are, and that's to be respected. I mean, how much lore does Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2 really need? It's literally New York. The only lore you need is pizza and I'm a walk-in here and you're all good. It's actually an example of the mechanics first method of open world creation. Spider-Man wouldn't be a very good game if it massively restricted where you could crawl, swing, jump, and look back at the camera with all the exaggerated swagger of a black tee. I think a nice way of visualizing the evolution of the gaming industry and this kind of adoption of the open world into mainstream over the past couple of decades at least, is best displayed by the Arkham trilogy. The first game is atmospheric, claustrophobic, with a set list of tasks to complete, all the while beating up henchmen and solving mysteries. It's like playing through a Batman comic. It's great. Then Arkham City introduces a bigger map, and takes advantage of it by introducing new factions, characters, big distinct set pieces and a larger mystery to solve across this wide city. And then Arkham Knight, it's this whole city you can drive around like a maniac in, and there's a whole rogues gallery of villains to face. My point being, some of that stronger, more concentrated atmosphere of Asylum may have been lost in the bigger games, but Rocksteady knew exactly what they wanted to do and how they were going to expand not just the map size, but exponentially expand what you could do as Batman within this world that no other game could pull off because you're not Batman. You know how a Spider-Man pepperoni pizza's area exponentially gets bigger as you increase the circumference? The same is true for open worlds. You have to back that shit up with good content. Not just recycled content, but good, interesting content. Give it a reason to exist as an open world. And because of the interactive nature of video games, a larger game with any amount of freedom in it alongside a main story is going to experience some ludonarrative dissonance. Like Scarecrow's up there all like, "Ooh-wee, Batman, I'm gonna push the button. everybody dies in 1 hour, Batman, when I push this button. And then Batman's all like, I need to get to Scarecrow to stop him from pushing that button in 1 hour. But then what I actually do is spend the next 5 hours beating up the Pigman opera singer and getting the gold medal lap time on Riddler's underground Hot Wheels tracks. But ooh-wee, he's about to push the button, Batman, better hurry up. Anyway, here's the worst timeline for you. Sometimes games change. Sometimes, when the world gets bigger, it also somehow gets emptier. Let's talk about Star Wars. We all like Star Wars, yeah? Can we talk about Star Wars? I've been dying all day to talk about Star Wars. They ruined Lego Star Wars. How do you even do that? You know how we were talking about games that didn't need open worlds? This was one of them. Now, do I want a morally grey, freedom-based, role-playing, open-world Star Wars game? Yes, more than my parents love. But this ain't it, guys.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
I appreciate all the work that went into this game, all the different locations and characters, but there's no substance behind any of that shit. If their pitch to the player base was that this is a return to form for LEGO Star Wars, then this is a far cry from what we were promised. No hub world, the puzzles are barely even there, and the levels? Sometimes I don't even know I'm in a level until it's told me I just got out of one. Every side mission is a stupid fucking fetch quest with no soul, no depth underneath it. Like, it's a LEGO Star Wars game. What much more I was expecting, I don't know. But you took a formula that worked, of hub world and level-based movie adaptations, and crammed a poorly thought-out open world in there for marketing purposes. This game right here is the perfect example of a boardroom open world pitch idea. Well, what if it's LEGO Star Wars, but open world? But when they actually make that open world, all they have the balls to fill it with is fetch quests, trailing missions, and superficial puzzles. And it's clear that they did not give a shit about the levels in this game. All their time went to the open world, and it left both halves underbaked. Every level is an on-rail shooter. Walk from point A to point B, shoot people. Walk from point B to point C, shoot some more people. Wow! What they should have done, in my opinion, was something closer to what LEGO Star Wars The Clone Wars did. With a hub world that's a lot more open and lets you travel to different planets, you could fill it with little secrets and nods, that classic LEGO charm, and keep the levels entirely separate. And this whole battle system that this game had going on, if expanded and improved upon, could be amazing. So it's a shame that all the Skywalker saga could be was underwhelming, confusing, and above all, this is the kicker, boring.
But you know what? I could forgive all of it, if you weren't such a bore.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. And hopefully the industry wakes up and realizes that open worlds should be treated with the respect that they deserve. Not as marketing gimmicks, not as set dressing, but as opportunities for broadening the horizons of our games, both in the virtual space, but also in the storytelling, world building, and gameplay potential that only the wonderful medium of video games is capable of. Open worlds should make games feel limitless, not lifeless. And if you can't make it interesting, maybe just don't make it open world at all. Anyway, I've got one more whole video to make this year, so I better get started. I'll see you next time, and good night.
And in this Mario Kart game,
What can you do in this Mario Kart game?
you can go off the racetrack.
You can go
and
off the
drive virtually
racetrack.
everywhere in this
Virtually
world.
everywhere.
Even take photos
Whoa.
together at
Even
different
take
locations.
photos together?